This is a $20,000 website, and in this video we are going to try to rebuild it inside GoHighLevel from scratch. And the website is built by this company, Flow Ninja Studio, on Webflow, and as you can see, their websites start at $20,000. And as you can see, this is the website right here. And in this video, as I said, we're gonna build it from scratch. This is my GoHighLevel website builder from scratch. As you can see, a brand new page, and let's start creating the first section from this website. We're not gonna build it entirely like 100%. We're gonna build a couple sections from this website, starting with the hero section. So let's get started. First things first, we would need, let's say, a 2-column row. Maybe we can add another column just so we can play around a bit with the spacing in between the text and that little card. And then let's click on the big section and let's add an image by going here in the background, image, and let me choose a picture. So I went with solar just because that's a solar company. We get this. Let's say full center because we don't want any parallax effects. And now what do we need? Let's see. We need a couple text elements, let's say a sub-headline, a headline, and a description plus a button. Then we need this card here. So let's try to get the left column, and then we're gonna focus on the right column. First things first, let's get a sub-headline. Let's align it to the left, just like that. Let's get the headline, again aligned to the left side, and let's get a paragraph, again aligned to the left side. Very, very good. And below that, of course, we can add a button. Let's go with this button just because it looks kind of similar to this one. Let's add a bit of padding top, let's say 200 pixels, just so it goes a bit down like that, maybe a bit more depending on how this looks. This is white, this should be white in theory, but it really depends on where the text will be positioned. Let's make this a bit bigger, let's say 50, and let's make this a bit smaller. Perfect. The button, we don't really want a border, we can remove it, and by removing the border, as you can see, the corners remain rounded, which is a little hack that you can do with the border inside the GoHighLevel website builder. Let's add a bit of margin to the paragraph, margin bottom, let's say 40 pixels, that's pretty decent. And let's say fluid, because we don't really want the button to take the entire width. And padding, I would change to percent here, and let's say 10%. 10% there and 10% here. Why not go with 20 pixels or 40 pixels left and right? Well, percentages adjust based on the screen size. So if your screen is very small, then the button will be responsive and it will adjust its padding left and right according to your screen. But if you go with pixels, that's a fixed size and on some devices might look bad. So that's another trick right here. Use percentages when you have paddings and so on. At least left and right. Height doesn't really matter because that varies less frequent than the width. Anyway, button align left. So now we have something that looks more like this. Obviously they have a different picture which doesn't include a sky, and I think that's maybe a little better. So maybe I can change the image. Just give me a second so I can find something that resembles their image. Perfect. Just so we can see the text better. Here, let's add a border, full border, and let's go with 25 pixel radius. But unfortunately, as you can see, let me make the border white, it takes the entire width. So either we play a bit around with margins, just like this, so we can get this thing a little, reduced in height size, or we can add another column inside it. So depending on how you want to achieve this, but for now let's just add some 60 pixels in height. Again, we can play around with percentages, right? So let's go 10%, not 100%, but maybe 10% here and 10% here, right? Very, very nice. And it goes like this, a bit similar to what they have. And now let's add a custom class. Let's call it hero card. Let's say hero card. And for this card, as you can see, we need a few things. We're not gonna build the entire slider in this video. We're gonna build just one card because all the other cards are basically the same card plus a slide effect in between. So all we need is a counter that we're gonna use natively from GoHighLevel plus a blur effect. The blur effect we're gonna use from my Notion doc is this one right here, blur effect behind the header. We're gonna copy the code from there and we're gonna paste it right here. As you can see, I added the blur. This is the blur. And I also added a background color. It's a grayish color. And then we have the z-index and overflow hidden. You'll see in just a second why we have overflow hidden. Then we click save, and this is how our card looks. Again, if we do that trick with the border, that we disable the border, then as you can see the corners still remain rounded. And if we click save and try to preview it, this is how it looks. Pretty nice so far. Maybe we can make some adjustments to the color right here, so because it's a bit darker, so maybe let's go with white. So first things first, let's go here. Yeah, light fade I think is enough. And if we go here and we change this to 250, 250, that's more towards a white color, as you can see right here. Perfect. And inside it, now we can add two columns because GoHighLevel implemented nested columns. And in the first one, we can go ahead and add a number counter. Number, let's go with white, caption, white, background transparent, container background transparent. Very cool. And instead of counter one, locations, let's say, right? Something like this. And here I want to add an image. Very cool. Let me just add a nice image. Perfect. But as you can see here, their image is more, overflowing. So that's why I added the overflow hidden, because I want for this image to add a margin -60. Yeah, perfect. And we can play a bit around with the paddings. Maybe one. Yeah, very nice. One here and one here. Very good. And as you can see, we have something that resembles their hero section. If we refresh the page, yeah, something similar, right? For now, I think this looks pretty similar to this one. Of course, we need to add the logo carousel. And again, we can use their logo showcase, which is this one, right? We can replace the images and it would look pretty similar to this one, right? Because they don't have any fade in or fade out at the end. I also have a custom coded logo carousel in my Notion doc here. It's this one, continuous scrolling image carousel. A bit better than the default GoHighLevel one, but for this particular example, the default one works just fine. Let me refresh the page. And yeah, this is how it looks. Of course, we can make this stretch all the way to the edges, so it feels the same as on this website. So let's try to do that. First thing we have to do is allow rows to take the entire width. This one will go maybe 7 or 80%, and yeah, this is at 100%. So let's try to preview it and see how it looks. Very, very nice. As you can see, we have the sub headline, the headline, the text, a little button here, plus the card on the side. Now that we got this section out of the way, let's move on to the next section. We'll skip this one because it's a very, very easy one, just 4 columns with some images and some dividers. And we're gonna focus on this section, which has a really nice image animation. So let's get started. First things first, we need a new section, full width. Let's make it white in terms of background. And here I want to add a 2-column row, and I want to duplicate it. In the first column, in the first row, I want to add a headline, which obviously will be aligned to the left. And in the second column, I will add a paragraph, which once again will be aligned to the left. In the second row, the first column, let's add an image by clicking here once again. I'm using this image just because it's easier. And let's actually delete this column and duplicate this one. And let's add for the second column a margin of 20 pixels. Very, very easy. As you can see, this kind of looks like what we have on this website, right? Text, image, perfect. And here I want to add another 2 columns with a headline and a button. And for the buttons, I will pick this one. And let's also align it to the right. And let's change the colors, background color white, and icon color, I would like it to be black. And arrow, I guess we don't have that kind of arrow, like a diagonal arrow, but we can use this one, which is pretty decent. Perfect. And we can make this just like this. And this one, let's align it to the left again. Perfect. Let's duplicate the same thing on the right side. And let's add some padding below this row element. Let's say 100 pixels maybe, or even 200 pixels. Perfect. Just like this. And same goes here. Let's add 200 pixels padding bottom. Very, very nice. Now, as you can see, we have the exact same structure as on this website, but we are lacking the animation. So let's try to implement it. And this right here is all the code that we need. We set the overflow hidden for the column itself, and then we get the background class that GoHighLevel uses by default when you add a background to a column or to whatever element. And then when we hover our class, the background will scale and we have a nice transition. So let's copy the class from here. We get this column and we paste it in here, and same for this one. And now when you hover, as you can see, we have that cool effect that this website also has. And all we need to do in order for this to look identical is to just make some rounded corner for this one. Full border, let's make it white, and let's make 20 pixels in terms of rounded corners. And that's pretty much it with this section as well. As you can see, it looks and feels almost identical to this one. Of course, this one has, you know, different text, a bit of bold here, a gray text here, again here, black plus a bit of bold. But yeah, we can basically change it if you want. As you can see, you can add bold there, you can add bold here, right? You can do whatever you want, right? You can even use the same text if needed in order to have the exact same thing as this section, but the layout, as you can see, is identical. Plus, you also have this cool hover effect. And again, this is the hero section and the counter here, which works really, really well when it gets into view. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next section, which is this one. Really cool layout that changes the size according to what column you are hovering. And besides that, you also get this text pushed up when you hover, and of course pushed down when you don't hover on that specific column. So let's try to implement this. So all we need to do is to create another section, obviously first thing, and let's make the background white, and let's add a 3-column row, maybe another one, a 4th column row, right? Because we also have this one right here. Perfect. Let's add the same image as this one to all the columns, just because it looks kind of nice. And let's also add some margin, maybe 20 to the right. Yeah, 20 pixels to the right, 20 pixels to the right, and as well 20 pixels to the right. We also want to add a full border. We're gonna use the hack in just a second, but first let's add rounded corners 20. No border. Let's do the same for all the others. Perfect. And as you can see, we need, let's skip this thing. You know, it's just another text with some border and a color. Let's add the headline and the other text, which is pretty easy. So headline and some paragraph. Same goes here. Headline plus paragraph, and here as well, headline and paragraph. Let's make them white, just like this one, and also let's align them to the left side. Plus, I think 40 pixels, yeah, margin bottom. Excellent, excellent. And I think the whole column should have a bit of padding, you know, to the sides, top and bottom, just like this. And now let's actually delete all this and duplicate this one, the first one. It's way faster this way. And yeah, all of a sudden we have our columns, but we don't have this cool effect. And for this one, we need some custom code that we are also gonna get from my Notion doc, because I just added this cool effect into my Notion doc. This one, expandable flex cards on hover. It's the same effect that's on that website. Obviously, I took it from inspiration and I created it before the video and I added it in this Notion doc. And if you want to get my Notion doc, you can click the first link in the description. So let's copy the code from here and paste it into our page. So I copied the code. As you can see here, we have these classes right here: flex card wrapper inner, flex card and C column, flex card inner, active, and again active dot inner. Obviously, I had to create this before the video, otherwise it would have taken a long time to experiment with this on video. So yeah, this one works, and I also added it in the Notion doc. Perfect. And the next thing that we have to do is, let's add it here, why not? Let's add a custom code element and let's paste this code. Great. Flex card, main flex card, and yeah, this is the script. Just pause the video, copy it, or if you have my Notion doc, copy the code from my Notion doc. Now let's copy this class and let's add them here. Styles, flex card, this one flex card, and this one flex card. And we also need the flex card wrapper, which is this one right here. Perfect, perfect. And because of the way in which the classes are created, the CSS, we need to delete this and we need to approach this differently. So let's use 2 columns, and let's put this 3-column row in the first column here. So it's easier to resize this column. Very, very easy. And we also need to add, if I'm not mistaken, the main flex card to the first class. Perfect. And as you can see, now we can't see the text here, here, or here. We just need to play a bit with the margin. Yeah, just like this. So it's, you know, the text is visible. Perfect. Just like this. And now, if we preview it, this is how it looks. As you can see, the first column by default a bit bigger, and when we hover the second one, then we have this really cool effect with the columns that get bigger and the other columns get smaller, and also the text goes a bit up. But as you can see, it doesn't really go all the way up, so we need to adjust a bit the margins. Let's change the size 24 here, 24 here, and 24 here. And I think we can make this 20, this 20, and this 20. And I believe this way it looks a bit nicer. And yeah, as you can see, now the text is visible and the margin is not that big. And everything works just fine. As you can see right here. We have the text, the headline, and when we hover, we also see the text, and then the text goes down. Very cool. Just like this one right here. Very nice. And this one also has some things displayed on the side, so let's try to do that. And that's why, as you can see here, I added this new column, which already has some has the custom CSS because I moved it from here to here. So yeah, let's also add the background for this card. I believe this very nice. I think this one has 10 pixels plus 10 pixels, so I think we can add 20 pixels margin top and 20 pixels margin bottom. So basically it's the same size. Border, full border, border radius 20 pixels, and let's remove the border. Perfect. And now we need to have some counters, I believe, right? Yeah, perfect. Background transparent and background transparent. Nice. And we can add some sub headline. I think it has to be like very small, and this one as well should be very small. Maybe not that small, maybe 24, but yeah, this is what we need to do. And then we can also duplicate this, we can add it below, then duplicate this once again, and this one, and I think we are done. We have something similar to this one right here. As you can see right here, we have the columns that resize with the text that pops up and goes down when you don't hover, and plus these ones right here. And when you scroll up, as you can see, the hero section, the animation here, and these ones right here. Very cool. Again, if you want to add this really cool effect to your own GoHighLevel website, you can get my Notion doc from the first link in the description and get access to tons and tons of other cool effects as well. And if you're curious to see more amazing effects from this Notion doc, then check out this video.